Right, it's okay.
Yeah.
I got more right here, Scott. You want some more?
Yes. Yes.
So I found the suction cup.
Yes. The only thing I can do is tell you it's in that room. That little supply room. That's where Brenda always kept it.
Yeah, good call. I like that.
What's the news today, Craig? What's it?
Well, no, just that. Had a lot of questions lately about using United and the tickets, but yeah, this will start in the first quarter. I had a lot of questions.
You know
A
what?
lot of good things. A lot of good things. A lot of great info.
Here, I can run them up this.
Alright, I think we're
Stop, start. Yeah, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I did the same thing.
The major complaints have more or less evaporated and people are starting to really value the niceties, customer service, the value of the dollar. Those things are becoming much more good. I think so.
You don't have a lot of room.
That's the dynamic.
Trifecta though, so it doesn't go.
They kind of post on used to 10 that was and all of a sudden that doesn't happen. So it says to me
Oh, I see.
there's something that they've tried.
I don't know that it does, but I mean, if it does for you, great.
Overall, it's really good.
That's one of those things like.
So I guess.
You know what, it's okay.
All right, is that everybody?
Going well.
It's okay.
That's good.
That's what I
Tidbit. Tidbit. Okay.
Oh wait, I know his face. He's really enthused and there's a whole bunch of time. They wanna go.
People would be all open to doing a 4-year agreement.
This is not an academic exercise. Just brainstorm. All right, so let's read what we should stop, start, and continue doing, and it might help inform our next conversation. These are all together, okay. All right, so continue. Strategic planning, determine what is required, prioritize, and build project plans designed to capture success metrics and facilitate informed planning. There should be no surprises, and no has a squiggly underneath it for emphasis. Be proud of our, continue doing being proud of our city. Communication, listening to people. Continue growing industrial park.
Tom wrote that.
Continue being as transparent as possible to garner more citizen understanding / support. Cross-department programming and services. Working together as a team, nobody can do this job alone. Bolster presence in the community with events to show who is running their city. Continue moving forward to modernize departments and functions of the city. Continue to value our employees and find ways to incentivize our team. What should we continue doing? Funding the initiatives supported by council, promoting business development and job creation. Vault is an awesome example of quality jobs. Maintain city assets, buildings, and grounds. Some of you put it all together, so. Oh, this is continuing.
Yeah, number 3.
Yeah, so educating our children, continue. Continue growing. I can't read the writing. Building attraction.
Nope, building attractions.
And draw folks to Presque, I think. And continues the quality service of departments. Anybody have anything else? I think we got some of these mixed up, but we'll get through them. Anybody want to add anything more to continue? Stop. Here's what we should stop doing. Stop buying properties without a plan for what to do with them. And when we have a plan, execute. Stop interacting on concerned citizens. It makes the employees' jobs harder and more of our time is spent doing damage control.
I second that.
Second that, okay? Stop calling us hub and go with cart. That sounds like storage. Negative criticism, stop negative criticism without support or ideas. Stop listening to social media, instead make informed decisions. Stop use of social media in city affairs, excluding promotion and official press releases. Kind of a theme there. Stop being reactive when not warranted. Stop hiring without a defined plan for the position. Stop letting social media dictate changes. Cutting to avoid increases that just continue to cost us more further down the road. Stop working in silos, we're the same team. Stop being only or first place some nonprofits looked to for funding. We should never cater to any one individual, complaints, wishes, needs. We serve a 9,700 population. We should stop talking without funding initiatives, i.e. howling. I.e. I don't know what the example is, but maybe we can get some clarity on that. Stop number 2.
No, stop was number 1.
Okay, so unsure what to stop. Number 2, build, install homes on our acquired properties. And number 3, team building, supporting each other. Stop wasting paper.
I don't know who said that, but here.
Valid.
Someone was under pressure.
Encourage business and business development and start moving forward.
That's great.
Stop allowing social media and opinion to drive our decisions. Direction should be driven by planning and policy. If a policy doesn't exist, create it. Policies support plans, projects, and fosters inherent trust between the administration and department heads. Do I need to read this?
Put it all in one page.
Stop subsidizing small rural towns. Start providing major incentives to build in Presque Isle. Continue doing quality service in city departments. Stop talking and build houses. Invest in current assets and start growing. Number 1 is basing discussions on something. Number 2 is start funding capital and continue building attraction and draw folks to Presque Isle. I think I read that one. All right, we should start following city charter and policies that we set. We should set the highest examples. We should start approaching priorities as multidisciplinary. We are a team and we should approach these priorities as a unit. We should start explaining city work to residents in a more comprehensive way, explain the why better before people make up answers via social media. Start doing, make informed decisions. Start being the hub of a Aroostook. Number 1, reaction to the flavor of social media of the day, that's stop. Plan your work your plans. What do we need to start doing? Respect the awesome department heads. The city is so fortunate to have all our experts and true to the city, I guess. Start being more proactive in tourism efforts. Start planning for the future. Cross-department unifying our identity. Invest in ourselves to spend money, have to spend money to make money. Determine key metrics to assist all departments and operational staff in reporting and tracking data to allow for efficient measurement of success, completion, and better project costs and requirements. Pick a direction to move forward in and move toward it. Clarify and encourage proper channels of feedback for community members, formal complaint forms, council meetings, etc. And start holding accountability for goals and direction that is agreed as valuable. But that's a lot. There's some themes there. Anybody want to add anything more now that you've seen kind of what people are thinking?
I think we should start by finding one or two towns somewhere in the United States that was where we are now and what was able to transition to where we want to go. Okay? Don't reinvent the wheel. Basically find some good benchmarks and you know, modify the path a little bit, but then you're doing something that worked.
Yes, Scott. Anybody else? You've seen kind of the totality.
So we've identified some of the things we want to do, like housing, promote business, grow the industrial council. Should we make that list and then make a equal list to it of what's the barriers?
Eventually, we're gonna get to that. We've got more to go through. Thank you. This was an exercise to give us some direct feedback about what we should stop, start, and continue. This is an opportunity for you to say, stop this, it's not helpful. Start this, it will be helpful. Continue, this is the road we want to go down. And we'll keep all this, and this will help inform us over the next few years. All right, thank you, that was heavy. That was heavy, but we did it. So now we ask what matters most to our city. Not the election cycle, not the loudest citizen voices, not the trends, but what matters most to the health of our city. And we'll write our answers down here. What matters most to the health of our city?
What we offer for services, but also how much it costs.
For the end user?
Yeah, for the taxpayer.
Yeah, thank you, Daryl, that's a better word.
So growth has to be high on the list because you're either growing or you're not, or you're going backwards. There's no sitting still.
Any specifically population growth or infrastructure growth or a combination?
All,
Okay. All.
population, business,
Okay, thank you.
land development.
What matters most to the health of the city?
I would say not only all of those things, but the impression of what we value. So, you know, if we have great public safety, but the impression is that we have problems, I guess, you know, is driving the message so that the impressions people have of it are positive about what we're trying to actually promote. You know, I think that's part of our thing, because I think as I look around this room, I know in all these departments, people have made great strides in the last few years, and they've done a lot of things that behind the scenes people may not notice or know changed or got better, but yet through social media or whatever else, you know, neighbors talk, scuttlebutt, gossip, the public doesn't know
Right.
about those good things. So it doesn't mean you didn't do it, it just means the public isn't aware. And that's, so I think that's what, I guess that's my point, is that the public needs to be aware of all the good things that are happening.
Okay, so if I say messaging,
Yes.
our story and perception, does that
Yes.
kind of capture
Yes.
that? Okay.
When we talk growth, is there a concern, or do we look at how much growth we have before it starts to affect our services levels, like police, fire, EMS, libraries, Cause eventually the growth is gonna require us to grow too.
So
Which now
intentional
becomes another
growth,
word.
is that what you're saying, intentional growth or
Sustainable.
sustainable
It should
growth?
always be the two words
Okay.
together, sustainable
Yeah,
growth.
that's what I mean, we have to be careful when we say just growth.
I'll just give it
Even
its
though we've
own.
been in decline since 2012. You know, I mean,
So would the reverse be the same, that if
we wanna stop the decline of their population.
Absolutely.
It'd be nice to stop it and grow it, but.
No, I'm saying grow it, I'm just saying at some point in time, that growth is in turn gonna cost us because our service levels are low.
What if 10 box chain stores said tomorrow they were moving here and they wanted to be in zones that we don't want them in? So growth for the sake of growth would be detrimental to our health, I guess. We could make that decision and say that, okay, 10 box chain store we want, or we're intentional about how we wanna grow and say, this is how, because this is going to be best for the health of our city.
Well, and just kind of put a finer point on that. You could have 500 people move into the community, but if 500 people move into the community that aren't working, aren't looking for a job, and aren't gonna be part of the economy, frankly, I wouldn't want that. Because that is growth, but it's not growth that's gonna help push forward our mission. So.
I'll say targeted demographics. There's a belief that instead of thinking of your citizens as citizens, you plan by looking at them in demographics. And our population is aging, so we look at that. We look at who isn't in our community and how to target that population. So I think that's a little bit.
No, I just kind of, they say it'd be nice to have people come and fill positions, but wouldn't it be nice if they also were a young family that had children that are gonna increase the school population and help with, again, I'm not trying to be mean, but I just say, but there's
True,
desire
young
and concerns.
professionals, right? We
Right.
want young,
So
we need vets,
You're
right?
looking at it that way, you're looking about bringing families in, what about the retention for the families that are already here?
Of course.
I mean,
And
since
the
1980,
retention,
we've
yep.
lost 30% of our school kids that have
Right.
gone because there's been nothing to keep them here.
And we don't have a retention program, some cities do.
Well, and that's a great point, Hank, and you're exactly right, because, any business that's done business with a person, the most likely person they'll do business with, again, is that person, because they've already built some trust. Our citizens that already live here probably mostly like it, but they may have to move because they don't have a job or something, so you're right. So we've got to continue to build the infrastructure in the economy so they can stay. You're exactly right. I mean, it's a lot easier to get someone to stay than someone to move from Washington State, right? Yeah, no, I agree with you 100%.
So you said the word economy, I guess I'll just put that down, cause that seems,
Yeah,
economies,
I agree.
So can I add a little bit?
Sure.
Targeted demographics and making sure we invite people who are gonna contribute.
Right.
But out hanging there is the dollars for subsidized housing. And subsidized housing doesn't fit that demographic right there.
Sure, I think we need a blend, right? We need a blend of all people. We need the poor people, we need the middle class, we need the, we need a blend of people. To have a good community, it takes all kinds, right? But if you have,
And the government's moving away from that. The federal government's moving away from
housing,
These 4
subsidized
years.
housing.
So, how about cultural growth?
yes, thank you. Cultural growth. Anything else that matters most for our city? There's probably a lot missing here, but one thing, is a good city will plan. Right, a good city says this is the direction we wanna go in, and we get it done.
Stay with that.
and they stay with that plan, they can adjust their sales, but they know where they're going, and
Well, we need a planner then.
we do.
Well, I think the key is what Sonia said earlier. We've had strategic plans, but we've never had the following operational plan to give us the actions.
Right, right. And we've never taken it out every 3 months and said, where are we? Report out, right, where are we? And it might be that some of the stuff we come up with after discovery, no, that's not really the direction we wanna go, but we don't wait until the next strategic planning session before we make those determinations.
And that's probably what's really kind of, why this probably won an award, is because it hasn't been happening in a year, but in 5 years it might.
Yeah.
You know, that's probably a lot of that, you know, you set the stage, build some of the parts, and then start the action steps, and it might take you 5 years to
Yeah.
do some of these things.
And we have a new counselor here tonight. If every new counselor that comes in gets the strategic plan, and we say to that new counselor, this is what has come before you for decisions, this is what we're working on now, then I think that we get a better leadership, we get better leadership through that strategic plan.
I'll follow Craig's point a little bit, and I think yours as well, as far as the planning goes. I think it's extremely important to plan well, but you don't plan for today either, you plan for tomorrow. So don't worry that you have an aging population. In 10 or 12 years, that may not be your problem. Where do you want to be, not where are you today?
Good point.
I do think there's something about identity too, and knowing who you are, and civic pride of place, and your heritage, and preservation. Those sorts of things seem really important to the next generation of people, and a sense of place and placemaking, those sorts of things.
Some of that falls under cultural growth.
Yes, yes, yes it does.
And I think those would be the things that you would take into account when you're doing your operational plan.
Yes, yes, thank you. Anybody else have some things? Lindsay, where are you? Okay. How many times a day do I say that? Lindsay, where are you? Lindsay. So this is another just list of things that we can go through to inform the rest of the night, where we come up with some priorities. So community and quality of life. Okay, so that's one broad category. We've talked a little bit about that. I have to drive 3 hours to get to a veterinarian. I have rheumatoid arthritis. I gotta go to Bangor for my rheumatologist, right? All of those sorts of things. Yeah, we had to look up, when we were trying to recruit Steve here, we had to send him a list of that. So broad categories in that are housing affordability, parks, recreation and trails, childcare and early learning support, events, arts, and cultural life. This quality of life there's lots of things that can fit under there, but these are things that we could consider. Anybody want to add anything to that? Quality of life. Aging in place. I had one family tell me that they didn't feel like they could age in place, so they moved.
Which ties to housing affordability, I believe.
Or back to Craig's thought about perception. Can they?
Well, you know, the thing is, I would debate that one with that
Me too.
family, because I would say, you know, we have the ability through different services here already that you can go from a home to an apartment, from an apartment to an apartment with services, to assisted living, to nursing.
Yeah.
And, you know, I would think that maybe we could help with those models a little bit, but I would argue that, you know, in my experience around the state of Maine, with the exception of a couple communities that built things specifically for that, that our community has a lot of that today.
I would agree.
It could be that we've just exposed something that we need a brochure about. And to work with a rustic area on aging to
And
say,
maybe they weren't aware of all the services that
right.
Agency on Aging had, because they are very good at this.
right, and maybe we take it back to the idea of perception and that we need to communicate that as part of our story, that you can age in place and here's how we can help you.
We also need to know what they mean by place. So when I hear aging in place, I assume people wanna stay in the house, not in the community. They wanna stay in the house.
Yeah.
So,
But Agency on Aging is still very good at that, and you add ACAP to the mix, and you've got a very potent combination.
Well, and then
But,
rustic regional transport and.
Exactly. So I got an email today from Age Friendly. And it was the same thing. It was another community that's not as large as we are, that doesn't have the amenities that we have, asking questions that sort of fall under that category. And they were talking about, what do you have for this kind of service and what do you have for this kind of service? And they were asking the age-friendly community what they did. And our community is of the size and has the number of agencies that our age-friendly community, which is based here at the city, doesn't do that. The Agency on Aging does it and ACAP does it.
Yeah.
So we have some of those services already in place, and I think you're right, it's perception these people may not.
Yeah, there's several perception things. One is there's nothing to do here. We hear that a lot, right? But what are they really saying? We know that's inherently untrue, there's lots to do. But clearly, we're not hitting what they want to do, or we're not communicating what people want to do. So yeah, go ahead, Scott.
I think along that line, there is a lot of things to do in Aroostook County. But the problem is, there's no one or two places you can go that basically list those things. Okay, so like when I have someone like my daughter, for example, coming back to visit, right? I don't want to go to like 10 different websites to basically figure out what to do. I want to go to one or two. Okay, this is what's going on. Sometimes I ask Craig or Kim, you know, I can't find anything to do, so what is there to do? And they usually, you know, they have some suggestions. But you gotta, and I don't understand why Aroostook County can't come up with one or two places to list every event.
Well, I think we're working on it. The app was supposed to be that kind of one-stop shop. There's a Aroostook Common, but you're right, Scott. We gotta work on that, right?
And the other thing is I think Aroostook, I think Presque has to grow to the size that it becomes a true urban center. It has, you know, what do we, you know, and maybe the airport is because I'm associated with the airport, I'm more sensitive to this. But I hear all the time, oh, I go to Bangor to do this, I go to Bangor to do that. And I told one Rotary Club one time, you know, how much cheaper would a ticket out of Presque Isle have to be for you to fly out of Presque Isle versus going to Bangor? And they looked at me really strange, okay? And I said, no, listen to me, okay? You basically say your vacation begins the minute you head to Bangor, okay? You go to Sam's Club in Bangor, you visit Uncle Fred in Bangor, you go to your favorite restaurant in Bangor. So why can't we make Presque Isle as big as Bangor?
Going further, I think we should be the county seat.
100%. You'll see that later.
Well, I mean, we've got the two colleges, I mean.
Yeah.
I mean, historically, Holton was much larger than we were when they became the county seat. But the tides have shifted. We're now
I
a
mean, we're the
larger
service center of
community
Aroostook
with
now.
more amenities.
Yeah.
So you're right.
Yeah, and it used to be you had to go to the registry to do anything, and now we don't go to the registry for anything anymore.
Doug,
Is there any state financial benefit or to being a county seat?
well, there's economic benefit. So if you're at the county seat and say there's a jail here, then you have you have all those, that traffic.
Oh, yeah,
in and out.
but I'm saying like, the state doesn't
Don't pay us extra.
pay you 50 grand because you're the county seat, you gotta handle this or something.
Not no, not at this time, that's,
Would it increase like the service center calculation or
it
anything like
does,
that?
it increases the service center calculation, so.
Oh, okay.
So I think the other thing about the whole county seat issue, I think we have to basically get the state to recognize that Presque Isle is really the community that has the largest chance at growing an urban center. And really for the development of the northern part of the state, Aroostook County needs a true urban center. And because you have the colleges and you have the center of retail and all of that, we are the natural choice for that. So when somebody comes to the state of Maine looking to locate a business, right? Okay, and they'll consider northern Maine. Okay, don't state of Maine, don't drag them off into the willy wag somewhere. Okay, it's like the Hampton Inn, right? The way the Hampton Inn ended up coming to Presque Isle is they drug a bunch of people up to the valley, up to Fort Kent, because they wanted to put a resort up there. And they wined them and dined them and so on and so forth. At the end of the long weekend, they asked all the developers, well, what do you think? And most of them just didn't see that happening up in the valley. Now, the person who built the Hampton Inn said, well, he said, I don't really see a Hampton Inn in Fort Kent, but I think Presque Isle has some real opportunities. My whole argument is why did you drag them way up in the willy wags? They should have came here and basically considered Presque Isle first. How do we change that?
The reality is, Scott, is that those individuals hunting for companies and industries are not just taking a map out and looking at our website. They're already on a centralized website, and cities are promoting themselves and cities are ready with incentive packages, and some of it's tied to tourism, some of it's tied to planning and development, but cities are positioning themselves in places, in digital places, that they need to be to attract those people, so they're all ready, right? That's what we're not doing. We're hoping Wendy's will move here. We're hoping Sam's Club will come, right? So we're not proactive, right? We're not putting ourselves out there. Now, part of that is marketing, promotion, but we're not playing like the big boys at all.
Right.
And if we want them to come, we're gonna have to start playing their game, which is putting money into marketing and the websites and site development and all of that stuff. So we can get there, but we're gonna have to be intentional about that. And I think before we get there, we need to decide, what do we want? How do we want to grow? Do we want Sam's Club? Maybe we do, I don't know, but we've never gathered in a room together and decided that's the direction that we wanna grow in. Do we want to be a cute little downtown quaint city? I don't know, but we haven't prioritized that. Once we have, then we can go after, then we can position ourselves. We've got so much more to get through, but I appreciate your comments.
Yeah.
Infrastructure and facilities, so roads, sidewalks, and stormwater drains, right? City buildings, modernization, fleet and equipment readiness. These are all things that I have gathered that are important to us through the budget process. Public safety and our well-being, police staffing and community policing, homelessness and street level concerns. Economic and planning development, so business attraction and support. Oh, I'm sorry, I saw your hand and then I forgot, I'll go back to you. Zoning and development readiness, airport growth and aviation opportunities, university and college partnerships. Are we a college town? Well, we could be. We have 2 of them, but we don't act like a college town. Do we want to? In that case, we're gonna have to be intentional. Population growth and to stop out-migration. We used to talk a lot about out-migration a decade or so ago. We've stopped talking about that. Financial stewardship, budget stability and long-term planning, capital improvement planning, grants and revenue diversification, cost efficiency, and regionalization. These are things that are words that over the last several conversations or years, we've talked about.
So come back to me before you throw that away.
Okay,
The top line, housing affordability.
Yeah.
And so many other things. I think education has to be a big piece of it, because housing affordability here is way ahead of housing affordability in almost the entire rest of the country. Okay, that's a fact.
okay, can you frame that?
Just that housing affordability is a goal that we've met, we're there. We're way beyond the rest of the country in our housing being affordable. That's part of the reason all those people came here.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yes, okay.
Besides being quiet and safe, we had affordable housing, and them coming here actually impacted that. But
Yeah. I stayed with a family over the last few days. It was interesting. I got stuck in Camden, which doesn't seem like suffrage, but I was not happy to be there. But this family and I talked a lot about taxes in Camden, and their taxes have raised 100% in the last 3 years. And how that came about is I said, he asked me what's one of the biggest complaints about taxes, and I said, well, some of our citizens are going up 33%. And he laughed and he said, that's cute, mine went up 100%. So I do think you're onto something there, Louis, where that's concerned, but I think, again, there's a perception issue that we gotta work through. So organizational strength, staff development, and leadership development, I think the more we put into our department heads, the better. Customer service and citizen experience, we're moving away from that whole customer service thing, but citizen experience, I think we need some protocols. If a citizen reaches out, that citizen ought to hear from us in 24 hours, right? Those sorts of protocols. It'll build trust. Updating policies, ordinances, and our procedures, and that's all under organizational strength. Environment and resilience. So riverfront development, the next phase of that, what does that look like? Energy efficiency. This was the solar conversation we had. What do we want? No solar, some solar, solar here, solar there, right? Where do we want it, right? Trail connectivity and outdoor recreation. Man, where we live, that's something that we have a lot of, and it's our trail system is pretty impressive. So, do we want to grow that? Waste management and recycling. We don't talk a lot about that, but this is a big deal in your community. Imagine if you wake up one day and the garbage man says, I have nowhere to take it. We don't talk a lot about that, but it's a big deal for your community. Beautification and code enforcement. What I'm hearing is that we want beautification at our ports of entry, and we want responsive code enforcement. We don't want the houses that are menaces in our neighborhoods, right? And then here's just a free association thing, some other things that I've heard here, there. We want more sidewalks. We want better directional signage. We want marijuana shop regulation, whatever that looks like. Solar growth or regulation. TIF fund designation or plans. We don't want to use it just as a slush fund. We want to be deliberate. What do we want that for? tourism, historic district development. We don't have a historic district downtown.
So the state actually did a survey. There is a survey, architectural survey of our Main Street. So we've got some start to it.
What I would like to do is to be able to say, visit our historic district downtown,
And we tried
right?
that
Make it so cute.
about 8 years ago.
Scott says I can't
Council.
say cute.
What the breaks around.
So we want, board and committee training and alignment. What do I mean by that? Well, we've started that with interviewing people, right? We build boards like they're a team. We build that team, right? Because ultimately the council's responsible for that board's behavior, right? So, and some training and development of those board members. We want street lighting increase. We want to do the downtown VPI planning, right? We've gotta come up with $3 million in probably 2028, 2029. Communication planning, not more communication, improved communication. We want hospitality for our tourism industry. We may want the jail here and a county seat here. We want to enhance and recruit core services, and we may want an EMS training facility.
Tanya, I shouldn't say EMS training, should say fire facility.
Thank you. We'll fix it. All right. That's a lot. And maybe we won't get it all tonight. It's a lot. If you look at that wall, it's pretty. It's pretty. You're doing a good job.
Sorry, it's Anson.
So we started with what are we trying to accomplish? We reflected on 2012 and 2023. We heard from our department heads and their brainstorming session. We talked about what matters most for our city. What's the health of our city? We talked about these 7 priorities. We looked at our 2023 goals. And we did a little brainstorming about what we've heard over the last few months that's important to councilors and department heads. So how do we pick out what is absolutely most important to us, put it up here, and then you get your dots out, you get 5 whole dots, and prioritize what department heads go after, right? Like their life depended on it. You go after it, you make it happen, right? Now, there's some variables like funding. But if we prioritize something that's a big ticket item, we might be able to say, well, we can't have it today, but we'll have it tomorrow. And here are the funding priorities we might be able to do. Okay, here, Hank, you want SMART goals that are achievable and build on that. So what would one be? I know, you can take a minute. I know, it's a lot of information. These kind of strategic planning things usually happen in a day, a full day,
So,
2 days.
Usually chiefs takes 2 days.
Yeah.
well, maybe this wouldn't be popular, maybe it would be, but what if, from the list, what if we, had the opportunity to bring over from that to another list
things that we pull out, because, you know, we aren't gonna prioritize everything, I don't think even if
Yeah,
there's
that's
many people,
exactly
we
right,
would.
Craig.
You know,
So, right,
But
And I'll write it here.
then come back over the next few days and put our dots on that,
we could do that, absolutely.
you know? One reason I say that is that, you know, like you say, there's an awful lot there, but I think in the part of doing this, you know, all of a sudden you say, well, geez, what do you think about the Harold say, Craig, I think that's a great thing, you know, but maybe I've changed my mind about where I place something, and I don't know, maybe that conversation is best slept on and added to,
We can put this all together for you,
yeah.
and then we can reconvene.
And I just think maybe that, if that was all together, then we could take from that and then put our numbers down and then come over here and then put our priorities and then take our dots and vote on that at the next thing. I don't know, I think that might be more deliberate in coming up with a good plan rather than a rush plan.
Or even better, we could use technology to do it all, so we don't have to use paper dots.
We already got the dots, we bought the dots. Try not to waste things, we already bought the damn things.
I'll volunteer to do it. I don't have to come back here and put a dot on a board.
So I do have another comment. Sorry, it won't be popular, but one of the issues we face every day is the taxes. And we've talked a lot about growth, but we haven't talked about the other end of what causes taxes, and that's how much money we spend. Okay, our budget's up 900,000 this year. How,
No,
Well, it's not really all about spending either, and that was one thing I was gonna mention, and it's not really on this list, it's kind of sort of covered in some areas, but, you know, revenue, obviously. Other means of revenue and creative ways to get revenue, I don't know, I don't even know where you should start with that. And it could
so
be-
I think we had diversified revenue.
Yeah.
and revenue is growth, part of growth.
Yeah, 'cause I
remember
mean-
where, but yeah, revenue diversification.
Looking at the budget the way it is this year and, you know, looking at what you've done with taxes, I think we pretty much hit rock bottom. And the only way we're gonna offset the mill rate is with more revenue from other areas. And, you know, whether that comes from housing development or it comes from other opportunities, that we just need to, you know, do a little better job of kind of following through some of that stuff.
So what's missing?
What we just talked about.
What else?
I'd like to see the city dip its toes in the housing, issue by picking one of our nice properties that's just ripe and ready for a new home to be moved in and buy it and move it in and set it up, a turnkey house, and work with a lender to put a new young family in that house and have them raise their family here and have their kids go to school here and pay their taxes here. And then do it, and then do it again, and then do it again, and then do it until we run out of properties.
Where are they gonna work?
So infill.
They can drive to the potato chip plant, they can work, everybody's hiring.
Right, no, everybody's hiring, but not everybody's going to be able to afford that house that you're talking about by working at some of those other places.
But
If they
human
can
resource.
afford rent, they can afford one of our houses. That's what I'm looking at.
My rent's, well, my rent, my mortgage is cheaper than rent my apartment.
Well, yeah, that's
And it
right,
should
that's the
be,
point,
it
yeah.
should be.
Yeah.
So I don't want somebody to have to come here and, geez, I can't even find an apartment, I can't even find a job to afford an apartment. Well, yeah,
Probably
but
could
you
buy a
can
house
probably
for free
afford that
right?
house.
Nice.
Right.
And we're gonna work with you and a lender to get you in that house.
Right.
That's step number one, I think, to all of this, is take our properties and we put a house on it, we sell it, and we get somebody in there and get it rolling.
And we have the
Now.
development fund, help us with that.
Well, you know.
I mean, and you're gonna do it at cost, I mean, you're not doing it to make money, but what you're making for money is gonna be your tax revenue for the generations to come of that family living there.
Cause it gets it back on the tax roll.
It gets it back on the tax roll, and you just get
Whereas we're
reimbursed
doing
from
it
the
now,
bank and you go
a
buy.
house is getting tore down and then somebody's getting a bigger lawn and we're just.
I mean, I'm not
moving
talking
the house.
Fixing up old rotted
That's
out 100-year homes.
Yeah.
I'm talking a clean slate, a brand new double wide.
We had a version of that, but it wasn't built, it was what happens if we put the roadway in, if we put the utilities in.
Yeah,
We
site
put all the
development.
other
That's-
infrastructure in, now that homeowner can come and build a home and he doesn't have to deal with all that stuff.
I don't wanna, I mean, yeah, I'd like to get the 40 and 45-year-old couples to build a new grand home. But what about the 23-year-old, the 30-year-old that can't afford a $400,000
And
home?
because that's the young families we want.
Well, I think we need them all. I think we need to work on affordable housing, mid-level and expensive housing.
So
Yeah,
I
Laura,
agree with you, but new houses are, 1,000 square foot house is $300,000.
Yeah, and
Rate
somebody
basis.
but
my
that
age,
would be the action plan and how we're gonna do it. We're staying right up here with ideas, not anything more detailed than that.
The
just
other thing
ideas.
too is that the other part of this is the perception of it. And the reason I say that is when I spoke with some young folks that have jobs in the community that in the last couple of years, you know, I've run into here or there and said to them, so what are you looking for? Well, we're looking to buy a house. Well, we're looking to buy a newer house because there was some older homes they could have bought. And I said, well, so what is the price range you're looking in? They're two-income family. They're not, you know, big CEO type jobs either. And they said, well, we're looking in the $300,000 to $450,000 range to buy a house. And we have people that work right here in our city that I know right now that are in the process of building homes, and they're going to be $450,000 homes, and they both work for the city, you know. So they aren't big jobs, but that's the reality of what people are buying today. So I think the point being is the perception of us who live here all these years that still look at a ranch house as a $150,000 ranch house. But now is the $250,000 and $280,000 ranch house. That's our perception of unaffordability. It's not the perception of the people out buying those homes on the market.
well, I'm gonna tell you, it's the bank's perception as well.
Yeah, the other piece to
You know,
Because 6 years ago, I went to buy a piece of property and I was looking at a $175,000 house and they said, absolutely not. Then they gave me what I could afford.
Laura's been trying to break in here for 10 minutes.
No, I just think
Yeah.
it's like interesting, so like, I took a psychology class in college, and there was about 40 students. The professor asked us, how many of you want children in a family, and most of us were between 18 and 21, there was a couple outliers, only 5 people raised their hand that wanted children in a family. So I think it's important that like when you're talking about housing, to decide what kind of housing you're looking for, because 20-year-olds now aren't looking at your white picket fence wraparound house. It's just not a priority.
We're talking about a
So-
city planner, right? You know, these properties that we have now are a perfect opportunity to do some real life testing, right? See, you know, we have the opportunity to build some properties, you can see what's working for the community. The other thing I wanted to mention is, like, I don't have a job in Presque. I've lived here my whole life, but I don't work here in town. You know, I think it was you, Hank, that brought up, I don't remember who it was, somebody brought up remote work opportunities.
Yeah, that was Doug that brought that in.
Yeah, you know, that's a big thing. You know, one of the reasons I stayed here was because I was able to get, like, I just bought a new house, and I mean, the house is brand new. And the reason why I bought we looked at a farmhouse, and then I looked into what I had to fix, and I'm just like, I don't have time for that. So I want a new house. And so I bought a new house, and the only reason I bought it here is because the people I'm working with on the West Coast and other countries, when they looked at that house, they were like, to buy that here, I'd have to pay $1.5 million.
Yep.
So, tying that back into our public plan, our city planner, and also marketing. Market. If we have some sort of marketing plan, we can market the fact and market to these remote workers that, you know, if you don't want to buy a house for $1.5 million in Seattle, you know, but you like living in that area because you have all of these opportunities with, you know, nature trails, whatever, come over here and you can get it for a third of the cost. So there's a big opportunity there, I think.
Anything else we should add? Show of hands, do we want to let this percolate? I will summarize this, send it out, and then we can set a time. That work okay?
I like that idea.
Alright. Anything else we should talk about tonight? Have I missed anything else that is a priority? so we will organize today's input. We'll draft citywide options for priorities. After we've met the priorities, departments will make an operational plan into action steps. Council will review and finalize. And it may drive some budget conversations over the next couple of weeks. What we kind of think will help to specific staff members. And then we're gonna track the effectiveness of us. Right, we're gonna be looking every 3 months. We're not gonna make a strategic plan and then set it down and then somebody finds it 10 years later and says, why didn't we do this? So we're gonna hold each other accountable in that way. I don't think of accountability as a punitive sort of thing. I think of accountability as, what do you need for help to get this done?
Yeah.
Right, what do you need for help? What's in your way for that?
Yeah, you know, I'm gonna just come right out and say, I was the one that say, you know, and be accountable, and I didn't mean accountability that if you don't do it, we're gonna fire you. That wasn't my point, I used the word accountability, but my point was that, you know, that we hold each other accountable in the sense that we say, well, okay, you know, here, I'm the staff person, and you said you wanted this, but you cut my damn budget, council, so how the hell am I supposed to do it?
Right.
You know, or vice versa, you know, we gave you the money, what else do you need? What's the other issue? You know, is it staffing, is it time? You know, so I think, you know, it goes both ways. We have to expect, but we also have to provide the opportunity.
Yes, and I think if we remind each other what those priorities are, and even before we get to the next budget cycle, we're saying, this is how much this is going to cost, are we budgeting? The other thing is that we're budgeting year to year. We're not budgeting in a 3-year plan. We're simply trying to budget year to year and survive and absorb inflation. We need to start looking like our 5-year plans for our fee schedules and our capital improvements. We need to start thinking of our budget 3 to 5 years out instead of simply year to year. Fiscal responsibility and stewardship is one thing. But fiscal planning is something that is very much missing in our investments. So, yeah.
But one of the things that I think our budget has always kind of been held hostage to the school budget and the county budget. And we've always been held hostage by those two. And somewhere we gotta break that cycle.
I wish they had to send their own tax bills to school in the county.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, we've started the conversations with the county, right? We've started building that relationship. I've started with Ben, the superintendent. We want regular conversations. So that there might be a way to get to that. I don't know. It seems to be a long-term thing, but before the school budget, what I asked Ben is, before the next school budget is passed, I would like to have a joint council, school board meeting so we can have some of these conversations. And the same with county. There's some things we can't fix, but there's some relationships we can build. And when we look at our debt service, and this was talked about by a couple of counselors and Laura and I, but when you look at our debt service, when is this falling off? What are we putting there? When is this falling off? What are we putting there? What percent are we using of our debt service? What can we be investing in? What should we be investing in? So these are things that we can look at pretty hard, and I think it will move us from slow growth, which I think arguably we're in slow growth, maybe the lower end of slow growth, to a more accelerated growth. My concern, and I've voiced this in other circles, but my concern is having seen a community that went from no growth to suddenly developers were extremely interested And they came in like a wrecking ball and grew the town in a way that the leadership absolutely did not think was in the best case of the best help for their community. That tipping point could happen here too, and I wanna be ready for it, and if we plan, if we know exactly where we're going, and we're not gonna achieve everything, but at least if we know where we wanna go and what direction we wanna go in, I think we will move that needle a little bit. And I think the other thing, I read something today that said, if you want innovation in your community, if you truly want innovation, if you truly want growth, your leadership has to be good to each other. Okay, and that's council, department heads, being good to each other, being able to say hard things and walk away as community members. And I think this sort of relationship building is an incredible foundation to growth as well. So I appreciate you coming tonight and brainstorming, and 7 o'clock, that's awesome.
So we're gonna have a group hug now?
Oh, yeah.
I'm in.
Yeah.
I'll hug
I
all y'all.
mean, I love me kumbaya.
You wanna hug
How about this lady?
Yeah, throw one of these in now.
Debbie, thank you for coming tonight, and if you, please email me if you have thoughts, if you have anything, I will make sure you get all of them as well. Okay, and thank you for asking. Absolutely.
Entertain a motion to adjourn.
She said she sure did.
Favor?
She mentioned
Oh, no. I'll have one of these.
It is.
Oh, man.